What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday. Gonna have a great show again because A.J. Brown just can't stop tweeting about Titans fans and emotions and then quickly deleting said tweet. So we're gonna have a good show talking about the latest deleted tweet with A.J. Brown. There's a lot to chew on with this one because it involves his football camp that he canceled initially after being traded to Philadelphia. Now apparently the camp is still on and who he's trying to replace himself with at said camp for Titans fans and kids as well in the Nashville area. And then everything that goes around how A.J. Brown is handling the breakup with Titans fans and how the Titans fans are handling the breakup with A.J. Brown. So there's a lot of drama to go around with this one. We'll talk through it all. We've got the deleted tweet that we'll talk about and walk through as well. So I'll ask you guys an interesting question. Do you wish A.J. Brown was still a Titan, or are you happy that he's gone? Because the drama hasn't stopped since he joined the Eagles. It's only continued. So do you wish A.J. was still a Titan, or are you happy he was gone? We'll talk about that throughout this morning. And then Titans rookie minicamp starts Friday midday. Looking forward to go seeing that. Who are you more excited to see at Titans rookie minicamp this weekend? Is it Treylon Burks or quarterback Malik Willis? Then it is a Wednesday, which means shade. Zach, there was some public shade that you said you were going to talk about last night on Twitter. So I'm curious to see that one be brought to the show. We're going to have a great show on this Wednesday. Welcome in.
Yeah, and to clarify, I don't think he ever said he was canceling the camp. I think that more details will be, changes were going to be made.
Fair, yes. He canceled himself from the camp.
But you misspoke there at the beginning. If I was AJ, I'd be pissed, right?
Well, that's fair. But no, the camp's still going on, and this is all not negative with AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown is trying to do the right thing for the kids of Nashville. So that's one thing. We'll talk more about it.
I just wanted to clarify that it wasn't canceled. He never canceled the thing. So
yes.
We do have a lot to dive into today on this Wednesday. It's going to be a good show. I think we're going to get a lot of good opinions. We also have shade, which is one of my favorite. I've got two shades. One's a personal. Well, I got two shades. So my shade, I got a lot of shade.
They're always personal.
Get your umbrella. Get your umbrella ready. I've got some shade, but we are broadcasting live on this Wednesday on this Shade Day on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and also on Twitter, which we will tweet out our YouTube links. So if you follow us on Twitter, you can click that and jump in to the YouTube channel, which, people are great. I mean, there's a waiting room. There's a nice waiting room for YouTube. There's not a waiting room for Facebook. Zuckerberg hasn't done that yet, but YouTube, there's a waiting room. We see you guys in the chat beforehand, even commenting. They give you the ability to comment beforehand. So YouTube, if you're there, this is what you guys need to do. Like this video and subscribe to the channel while you are here. We would greatly appreciate that. That helps our YouTube algorithm as we have continued to grow with subscribers. That's good. That's spreading the wealth. It's spreading the Titans talk. And that's what we want to do because there's not a lot on the internet. It's one of the reasons why we created this company. Also on Facebook, The Real OGs. Now, you guys don't have a waiting room, but you've got the badge. And that badge says that you've been a real OG since day one when we created this thing. Shout out to all of our Facebookers. Bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing. We need to pop up your Facebook friends news feed. And how that happens is you guys share the show. So more people are going to be piling in. We appreciate that. We got a lot to get to. Let's get this party started.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to the A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media because we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network. We go live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. And we got to thank our sponsors because they truly do make it happen for our show, and they help out you guys. Wilson County Hyundai. If you're looking for a brand new car, make them a part of your process by going to see them in Lebanon at Wilson County Hyundai. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, that's where you need to go, boneandjointtn.org. And Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. What does that mean? That means better coverage, better rates, better service. Learn more about a health plan for you at fbhp.com/ATOZ. So a couple things. Paul says, thank you, A to Z, for the Bourbon and Beyond tickets. Yes, congrats to Paul and our other winner for winning the music festival tickets, the VIP tickets from our NFL draft. Also, thank you and props to Drew, who suspended himself. He said, good morning, Austin and Zach did the crime, and I paid the time. I'm off suspension. You guys were already harsh on me. Let's move past it. I'm sorry. So, Drew, we didn't mean to suspend you from like Tuesday's show, just Tuesday Sports Trivia. But Drew took it the next step and suspended himself for the whole damn show. But glad that Drew's back with us.
Glad Drew's back. Hey, water under the bridge. We move forward, right? They say on every reality television show that there's always a bickering between whether it's two women, two men, man and woman. And now you're going to start knowing this. The line of reality shows is, let's just move forward. That's what we're doing, Drew. We're just going to move forward. And we appreciate your support and your love of the show. Let's learn from our mistakes and take one step in the right direction.
All right. So A.J. Brown continues to tweet and delete. And again, the victim here are the kids of Nashville who were signed up to go to A.J. Brown's football camp coming up in June this summer. So when A.J. Brown was traded from the Titans to the Eagles on draft night, there was an email that got floated around on social media, I believe from the No Context Titans Twitter account, that had the email response that was sent out to all the people who signed up for AJ's Nashville camp. And it said, hey, with the recent trade, right now AJ will not be a part of the camp. We're looking forward to finding a replacement, yada, yada. We'll let you know. More information to come. All that, which I have zero issue with that. I don't think there's any problem with a player who is set to hold a football camp or any type of camp or event in the city they're currently in, that when they get traded, they don't do it. They move it, but also find a replacement for that. I think that is the right thing to do, because there's just a lot of awkwardness if A.J. Brown were to come back to Nashville and host a camp as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. But having the camp take place with another Titans player, that makes sense, right? Do you agree? How do you feel about my statement there?
Yeah, well, you said the victim are the kids. Well, the kids signed up to be NFL football fans. And when you sign up to be an NFL football fan, you have to know that things change. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. And so it's not really a victim. You sign up for this thing. Parents should explain to their kids, you may get a new jersey here in the next couple of years, because love doesn't last in the NFL. No. We've kind of known that, unless you're even Tom Brady. I mean, not many have been at a singular team for the entirities of their career. And so that's a unique situation. A.J. Brown, you think, gets drafted. They usually stay at their team for a longer amount of time, but things changed because of situation. So, I think that the correct thing to do is either, you got to either sack up and cancel the camp because you're going to be in Philadelphia and you've moved on, and you apologize, and you go buy him a commemorative A.J. Brown something, or a Derrick Henry something for all the camps, like a party favor, or you do what I think A.J. Brown is trying to do and replace him with, let's just be honest, a bigger, better headliner, which is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, we've always said this, A.J. Brown was the second best player on this football team. Right now, the best player on this football team is Derrick Henry. He is the king. He's coming back from injury, but it still doesn't change that he is, as they say, the fixture. He is the fixture of this franchise. You have fixtures of families. Mm-hmm. This is the fixture of this franchise, is Derrick Henry. So I think kids will be elated if, AJ, bye-bye to Philly, go eat you some cheesesteaks. Hello, the king comes in with a crown. I'd love to learn from him. They get a lot better weight room knowledge too, because it's the off season.
Right. So it all started yesterday afternoon, May 10th, 2:43 p.m. Central Time. A.J. Brown tweets, free your calendar. You're not going to want to miss this. Fire emoji. You're invited to A.J. Brown Camp 7-on-7 in Starkville, Mississippi at Starkville High School, June 11th, this upcoming summer. And then there's a lot wrong with it says you are invited, but then it also says up to 20 teams have been invited. So who's invited? Are there teams invited or the public invited? But anyway, that was yesterday afternoon. The new camp for A.J. Brown, now in Starkville, Mississippi, at his old high school, Starkville High School. And then here comes the drama, because shortly after he tweeted out the new football camp information for him, he tweets this at 3:19. So about 30 minutes after the fact, he tweets, "Before you all get in your feelings, my team is trying to get your very own Derek to run the camp. I didn't cancel the camp. I just got someone that you all want to see. Take care." So 3:19 is when that was tweeted out, Zach, and then it was quickly deleted. And so goodness, I saw it come out live. I took a quick screenshot knowing that it was probably going to be deleted. And so that's a massive update to a A.J. Brown football camp that was potentially becoming a Derrick Henry football camp. Now, there's other things within this, but if it's just like, the problem that I have is before you all get in your feelings, my team is trying to get your very own Derek to run the camp and then to take care. If you would have just said, here's an update on my Nashville camp, I'm trying to land another big name Titan to come host a camp for me because I want to do you guys well. Like, if you would have said that, there's no issue and there's no need to delete the tweet. But because A.J. Brown continues to stay in his own feelings on social media, he had to delete the tweet. Zach, I mean, am I crazy by thinking this?
Well, you got to understand it, right? And understanding it means that this is stemmed from A.J. Brown and the Titans fan base. You know, this was the Jets rumors. This was when the trade went down. This was A.J. Brown first realizing how fan bases work. They are loyal, not necessarily to the player. They are loyal to the team and the franchise and, you know, the football team that represents their city and who they like. You know, the flaming thumbtack, that's what they like. Everybody is replaceable. They have, you know, a majority of Titan fans, whether they've seen McNair, they've seen Wycheck, they've seen Eddie George, they've seen Chris Johnson, they've seen a lot of different Titans in uniforms. And A.J. Brown may be one of the best at his position as a Titan for this short stint that he was. But I think the Titans fans got upset, and it was kind of one of those things where, hey, once you're not one of us, you're one of them. And A.J. didn't understand that while all this stuff was going on. So A.J. obviously reads his mentions, which I personally is probably a problem. Like, you can read them. You can read them, but don't let it completely get too personal. You can have fun banter. I don't think that that's a problem. But as we know, when one gets in his feels, that's when things go awry. We've seen it. We've seen it all before. And AJ notoriously gets in his feelings. He's just an emotional type dude. Now, he can't separate it. You have to separate it. And I always say, like, who cares? Like, stop, it doesn't matter. But AJ does care, and it does matter. And his tweets, I think that's what represents this. He almost basically said, you people, you know?
Like, yeah, he almost you peopled everybody, right?
Right? If you look at it, before you all, now he didn't you people us, but he says, before you all get in your feelings, well, my team is trying to get their very own Derek to run the camp. Well, you know, you take a look in the mirror, and it's actually AJ, both are in their feelings. I don't think Titans fans 2 months ago wanted AJ to leave, right?
3 weeks ago.
Right? I just gave a timetable.
Yeah.
AJ, I think, wanted to be a Titan. It didn't work out that way. And so now the dust is settling and you're in different cities.
The irony in this is that AJ Brown is acting irrationally and reactionary.
Yes, there's your word.
And then he tweets this, right? And if he was really going to embrace Philly, he says, before you guys get in your feelings. But before you all get in your feelings, then AJ deletes that tweet to post this. Entitlement. And here's also the funny thing. What else changed, Zach, in these two screenshots? From 3:19 p.m. to 3:26 p.m., 7 whole minutes. One tweet was deleted and a profile picture was updated. I mean, this guy is all about it. So I want to take this further because he's like tripling down on contradicting himself. He's tripling down on like pot meat kettle. Like this is all AJ is doing is exposing how he acts by calling out people who act that way. So let's ask this question. Do you wish, and you guys are Titans fans watching the show, do you wish AJ Brown was still a Titan, or are you happy that he's gone?
Okay, no. I've got to stop you there. People in the chat, this is going to be tough. Look deep into your soul. I know this is going to be hard, but be honest with yourself, okay?
I want honesty too on this.
All I want is honesty. And you may be, I wish AJ Brown was still a Titan. You may be, I'm happy he's gone. I don't know, but think about it. Okay, don't just be reactionary like AJ. And if you come to the conclusion that you're happy that he's gone, that's okay. But I want you to actually really kind of take a second and don't type real quick. Think about it and then start typing. I had to have that disclosure and preface that before we get the comments.
No doubt. So your reactions and answers coming up. But first, let me tell you guys about TennesseeTickets.com. We're inching closer and closer to when we know when the Titans go to Philly to play A.J. Brown and those Eagles. The NFL schedule comes out Thursday night. That's tomorrow night. And there's only one place for Titans fans to buy their tickets to the 2022 season, and that is at TennesseeTickets.com. Trust them. Locally owned and operated. You can actually trust them. You can actually call them, talk to them on the phone, find the right ticket plan for you. If you need group tickets, they got it. If you just need a pair for whatever game it might be, they got it. For Titans, for the Grizzlies, for the Preds, for whatever ticket you're looking for, home and away, TennesseeTickets.com is where to go. That is where you should trust buying your tickets as well. So TennesseeTickets.com, check them out. And then also know this, no hidden fees. So the price that you see when you start the process is the price you see at checkout. That's not how it works with the other national companies. So check them out at TennesseeTickets.com.
Yeah, one of the reasons why we're telling you about Tennessee Tickets this week is obviously the schedule release. You can go buy your tickets. Both Austin and I have bought tickets from Tennessee Tickets, and I have compared them. I do my research. I have gone to StubHub. I've gone to Ticketmaster. I've gone to the others. And when you get to checkout, all of a sudden it's like $78 just magically appears. Alakazam. That's not how it works at Tennessee Tickets. And that is true. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to give back and save you guys some money with a good local brand. And we support, we've dealt with and partnered with Tennessee Tickets before. They, I think, have a really good system that can help save you guys money. So I do want to add on to that. You can win money to spend money by downloading the BetMGM app. We are sponsored by them. They are our morning show title sponsor. Risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users. Use that promo code right there on the screen, ATOZ Sports.
All right, so the question that we're asking, and there's a lot of answers. Do you wish A.J. Brown was still a Titan, or are you happy that he's gone? I think we're getting a good amount of honesty in the comment section here. Tyrell says, of course, wish he was still a Titan. Ken says, AJ probably watching this chat. Which one of y'all is an AJ burner account? Jarrell says, hell yes.
That's his burner account.
Yeah. Jarrell?
No, Jarrell's not. Jarrell was a loyal listener. We know.
Yeah. Xavier says AJ is salty because he wanted to be a Titan. It didn't work out. Tayton, I think that is, says glad he's gone. Max says he's acting just like an Eagle now. LOL. Steven says yes, I wish AJ was still a Titan. Nate says bye, Felicia. Trevor says not now. Good riddance. Titans. Kyle says, as a player, I want him here. These tweets are getting really old, though. Wilbur says, I wish he was still a Titan. David says, I wish he was still here, but have to move on. David says, AJ equals Juju 2.5. That's funny. Yes from Deborah. Yes from Zach. Will says he got way too loud for the room. D. Brown says, I hate how he's acting, but I wish he was still a Titan. And Billy says, good riddance as well. And Jimbo says, I loved AJ, but now I feel like it was the best for the team's future. So I think we got some honesty. There's a lot of other comments for you guys.
Well, and look, Ryan says, I'm glad he's gone. Crybaby showing his real feelings. I agree with you, Austin. I think that's why I love the chat. You know, when you ask the chat to do something, the chat does respond, I think, openly and honestly. And those comments were real. Because what I didn't want, and Austin and I talked about this pre-show, we didn't want to set you guys up to just be like, well, we're going to show something bad that AJ did and like show an entitlement tweet. And then all of a sudden ask if you like AJ Brown, right? It's just a response. It's you get in a fight or argument in your relationship, and then you ask immediately, like, how much do you like him right now? It's probably not a lot, right? So I do think that people and fans in the chat took a step back and answered that correctly.
Yeah, for sure. So, Zach, how do you feel about this?
So,
obviously, we've been covering the Titans. You've been covering the Titans for like 12 years. I think I'm entering year 10, right? So how do you, as a Titans media member, how do you feel about where AJ Brown and how he's been acting?
Well, two things I don't like about AJ Brown whatsoever is, one, he's from Starkville. Gross. Yeah. It is just nasty. The second, now I'm glad that he made a decision to leave, but I also question that the camp, you're driving people and economy to Starkville. So I'm not real happy about that.
That's a fair, for all the negative things I've said about AJ Brown in the last 15 minutes, I think the right result and resolution is to have his camp back in Starkville because he doesn't have the connections in Philly yet because he's barely been there. So have a camp.
It's a joke, and then there is some real hatred there for me. But,
I know.
But the main thing that I dislike about AJ Brown, and look, Ole Miss guy, I'm an Ole Miss guy. I thought the Titans should draft him. I thought he was going to be a good player. I just had that feeling about him watching him play football. I hate and Austin, you know this about me. I hate Twitter. I think it is the stupidest thing. I hope Elon Musk comes in there and changes it. I don't think he will, just because I think that it's a dumpster fire in general. I don't think you can clean up.
It's the most toxic. It's the most toxic place on the internet,
right? And AJ Brown is toxic on it, and I think that gets me. I hate it. Don't delete tweets. My whole premise in my life is say what you mean and mean what you say. And AJ is the complete opposite of that, right? Like, I don't think I've ever deleted a tweet right after I've tweeted it, unless I have made a completely terrible grammatical mistake, right? And so those are the two things I don't like about AJ Brown. Here's how I get to my answer. AJ Brown, I think, helps the Titans achieve their goal better than probably what they're doing right now in the immediate. I thought they should re-sign AJ Brown. I thought that they should have paid him more. I definitely I think that they should have offered him more money. And they kind of made their own bed with their offer, and they couldn't go up to a degree of where they really needed to be. They needed to be in the 20 range to start with incentives, and they didn't do that. And that is, I believe, regardless of the time, because DeAndre Hopkins was already making $28.5 million. DJ Moore was already making close to $25 million. They already had a bar. We talked about and it was influenced, right, of what Christian Kirk did to the market, but they still had previous contracts to set some level of bar, and $16 million is terrible. So I do think that the Titans are less likely to win the Super Bowl without him in the immediacy. I think the one guy that changes that is Malik Willis, and that's a long-term play, because I think his ceiling can be really high, and I think he can change the landscape of the franchise. But I think it's too much to put the pressure that we put on AJ Brown, who kind of rose to the occasion besides injuries, on Treylon Burks and expect him right out of the gate to be this freak, because as we know, when you pick wide receivers in the first round, the percentages aren't great that they turn into a superstar. So my overall answer is I'm glad to see his tweets go. I think there was some honesty in the chat. Yeah, I'm glad to get rid, and I think we will slowly move on from the BS and the drama that is deleted tweets from AJ Brown.
Well, I don't think we're going to move on from it. I think it's going to be, and now here's the thing.
Well, he'll stop tweeting about the Titans, but damn it, do I think he's a damn good football player and can help this team? Yeah. Yes.
So Sal from Jersey says, I blocked a man on Twitter that was my favorite athlete on earth 2 weeks ago. It feels great though. But like
Sal's speaking straight, and we know Sal is an honest man. That's speaking straight from the heart right there. That's tough.
That's the wild thing about this is the immediacy of the fire, right? Like it went so quickly to where it was love, 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 love. Everything's fantastic for 3 years. And then all of a sudden it just blew up in flames. And now it's continued to be that way because AJ Brown continues to fuel the breakup, because AJ Brown does things like this. Before you get all in your feelings, my team is trying to get your very own Derek to run the camp, which is kind of a weird way to phrase that. I just got someone that you all wanted to see. Take care. Like he's emotionally tweeting through it, which, that's kind of what makes Twitter great, but also what makes it frustrating. It's like AJ Brown tweets something and his team is doing the Office It's Happening fire drill. They're like, oh my God, here we go. We got to put it out. And they're all freaking out like, somebody, AJ, delete that. What are you doing? It's like there's a constant flow of thought from AJ's brain to his Twitter fingers before there's a filter. And the filter is his camp that says, delete that now. And previously it was the Titans saying, AJ, delete that now. What are you doing? Like, stop. Did you even talk to Derrick Henry?
Stability either, right?
Yeah, it's like, did you even talk to Derrick Henry? Is this confirmed? You can't just throw Derrick Henry's going to host a camp in Nashville out without it being confirmed.
It's erratic. I mean, it's erratic. I was trying to think of an analogy, and this may not be the one, but I was trying to think of an analogy of what happened. AJ Brown was a second-round pick, and the Titans drafted him. They took the risk on AJ Brown because he fell and all that other stuff. And it's like, in a relationship, one is making all of the money, and then all of a sudden the other person in the relationship finds a new job or wins the lottery and kind of thinks that they're bigger than the relationship. And I kind of felt like that is what happened. AJ Brown, at some point in time, he always thought he was, who he was, this all-star wide receiver. And then he became bigger than the actual relationship because I think in his mind was worth $26 to $27 million a year. He thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. Now, was he close to that? Maybe. I don't know. But that's not how you get along in a household. And eventually, that's why things broke. So it was a huge shift, right, over the course of 3 years. And that's kind of how I view it.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, they're gone. They're no longer together. They're no longer in a relationship.
And he's the one who, and as Paulie says, it's not my fault. And as AJ tweeted follow-up, entitlement.
He does that a lot.
Yeah, he does that. And so it's not a perfect analogy, Zach, but it's pretty good, I think. And I'm curious to see how you feel about it. A sports figure to compare AJ Brown to. I'm going to get to that in a second, but first tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Now I'm intrigued right there. I was also intrigued how much money I was going to save on Farm Bureau Health Plans, and then I found out. And then I was like, sign me up. That's exactly what happened. I saved 20% per month because I switched my health plan to Farm Bureau Health Plans, and it was very quick and easy. 20 to 30-minute health assessment. It's all on the phone. They ask you a bunch of questions. You answer them openly and honestly, and you sit there and you say, okay, now what's my quote? They wait a couple of days. They send you your quote, and mine was a lot better. It just was. And the best part is that it's not just for me and my situation. They have a plan for you and your family individually, right? So everybody is different. They adjust to you, and they're trusted, especially right here in the state of Tennessee, over 200 plus locations across the state. When it says, and I say, better coverage, better rates, better service, that is the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. That's not what I do. I'm also not going to delete any tweets. So I'm not going to delete this live read after I read it, or I don't even read it. I just say it. After I say it, I'm not going to delete it. This thing is long lasting because it's the truth. FBHP.com/A to Z. Visit them today.
Also, don't forget, download the BetMGM app. Use our code today, ATOZ Sports, and you get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 with your first deposit, your first bet, risk-free up to $1,000. A great chance to do that with NBA playoffs going on. I won a parlay last night. I took Phoenix minus 2.5 with the Miami money line parlay together, which was a zero sweat situation that worked out very nicely in my BetMGM account. So download the app today using our code ATOZ Sports for the BetMGM app. So, Zach, I'm going to compare A.J. Brown to somebody who's a big figure in sports. It's not the perfect analogy, but on a certain level it is. And no, it's not Ben Simmons, for those of you who have commented Ben Simmons in the chat. I do think that's an interesting one, and there's a connection to Philadelphia. But we're asking the question, do you wish A.J. Brown was still a Titan, or are you glad that he's gone? I wish A.J. Brown was still a Titan. As someone who owns a sports media company that covers the Titans, I wish A.J. Brown was still here. He was great. He was great to work with. He created topics. He was scoring touchdowns. He was really good to have on the team that we cover. I wish he was still here. But A.J. Brown is turning into a Lane Kiffin type. You love him when you got him, but he drives you crazy when he's with someone else because of how he acts, right? Because I was a sophomore at the University of Tennessee when Lane Kiffin was the head coach for that 1 year in Knoxville. Loved it. Loved everything. Picking fights with Urban Meyer at Florida. Bucking up to Nick Saban at Alabama. Recruiting like crazy. Cheating a little bit in recruiting, right? But he was saying all these things and creating a buzz around the Tennessee Vols. And it was great. But then he left. And I understood why Lane Kiffin left to go to USC. Because it was like going home to get what he wanted, his dream job. And I understand AJ wanted the big contract, his dream job, his dream contract that he got in Philly, right? But when he left, constant whining, constant immaturity, constant just drama with Lane Kiffin, especially on all the things that got unearthed that was happening in Knoxville. But A.J. Brown's the same kind of way. When you got him on your side, you love to have him on your side. But when he goes somewhere else, you're like, God, that guy's just a lot. Just a lot to deal with.
So
right?
I like the comp. You know, I think the most interesting part of this is, and I believe the longer Lane Kiffin has been away from Tennessee, the more Tennessee fans like him. So he hasn't grown as irritable, right? Because the breakup, time heals all wounds.
Yep.
And so will that happen? You know, A.J. Brown goes to the NFC. He goes to Philadelphia. I said this weeks ago. It doesn't matter, right? It's not like he went to the Colts. It's not like he went to the Chiefs, who beat you in the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago. Like, he went to a whole nother side of the league that has, I mean, now Cowboy fans are upset, right? Like, it's completely changed. So I do think that will happen as time goes on. Titans fans will, I think, probably tend to root more for him than against him, because it won't really impact what happens in Tennessee as far as their route to the Super Bowl. Obviously, when Tennessee plays Philadelphia, you're not going to root for them. But I think probably combining our two analogies is the closest thing to this very unique situation and circumstance, and really individual, that is very erratic. He's reckless and erratic when it comes to social media and that type of stuff. Now, recklessness and when one is erratic really plays to media and really plays to water cooler talk. And so that and ultimately makes you more money. If you do it too much, you lose money, like Chad Ochocinco and T.O. But if you do it the right amount, you can make a ton. And Antonio Brown, too much. Okay, you've drank too much alcohol. You're sloppy. We don't want to drag you out. We want that nice buzz that's funny. right? That sometimes, jumps up and dances on a table, but the table doesn't crash. That, I think, is where A.J. Brown probably needs to stay. And as time goes on, I think Titans fans will like him probably more than less.
Well, yeah, and so you got Michael saying, I'm not cheering for him. Paulie says, wishing the best, but I'm not rooting for him. Kick bricks. Brent says, why would you root for A.J. Brown if you're a Titans fan? He wanted out and got his wish. Good riddance.
Dude, in 3 years, Treylon Burks, so here's the deal. Treylon Burks is the outlier.
Well,
if your new girlfriend is better and you're happier there, you don't have as much hatred to your ex because she's doing something else. That's going to be the case. So really, Treylon Burks is the key to this. If Treylon Burks is anywhere close to A.J. Brown as far as productivity, that will make you forget your ex. You're not going to be dwelling on it. So you can say what you said, but guys, the wound is fresh.
Yes, I agree.
You're going to the bar for the first time without a girlfriend. Your head's in a tizzy. Everybody looks like her until you get into a happier place. So
so here's
comments.
Here's the like Malachi says, nobody roots for Corey Davis. Well, because that's a completely different situation.
But that's for damn sure.
Well, it's like I did see Ryan
because he blows.
Ryan brought up that Dennis Kelly went to the Colts, wished the Titans had him. Dennis Kelly's it wasn't Dennis Kelly's decision to leave the Titans. He was cut, and then he went somewhere else, and then he got a free agent again. He's looking for a job. So you can't hate Dennis Kelly for going to the Colts when the Titans were the one who made the decision to get rid of him. A.J. Brown forced the decision on the Titans to do what they had to do.
If Treylon Burks becomes Justin Jefferson, nobody going to even blink an eye.
No, because you save so much money. So much money.
This is... Now, John Robinson drafted Kevin Dobb, drafted Isaiah Wilson, drafted Derrick Henry. So there's good and bad. It's a general manager move, right? But his moves is very early on of trading the overall number 1 pick and getting DeMarco Murray and try to kind of build the foundation and formula of how he wanted to go about over the next 5 to 10 years. Let's be honest. I mean, that's how you should look at yourself as not getting fired, right? GMs have a longer leash than head coaches. This is his he's been there 5 years, right?
Who?
J-Rob.
6. He's had 6 full seasons.
So here's your climax of the movie. Is your movie going to become a blockbuster and this unbelievable hit, or is it going to fade and be looked at as like a Sundance Film Festival type of thing? I mean, is it big budget? Is it a Marvel superhero movie? I'm not saying Sundance movies are good. I'm not saying that. They're not Marvel. They don't make as much money. They are not who you think about. Kids aren't they're dressing up as Spider-Man, not some weird, Western character. So that, I think, this is his masterpiece. He had to make a really tough decision on a player over the next 3 years. Malik Willis and Treylon Burks, those are J-Rob's guys. Let's see how it plays out. I can't wait.
Well, let's talk about it now because Titans rookie minicamp is on Friday. I'll be out there. Looking forward to it. Who are you more excited to see at Titans rookie minicamp? Who are you more excited to see at Titans rookie minicamp, Treylon Burks or Malik Willis? But first, Zach, tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Yeah, Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. It's that simple when you take the quick trip down I-40 exit 236. They've got the Palisade. That's their full-size SUV. And, man, is the full-size SUV, and both Austin and I have test-driven this vehicle. It has luxury. It's got, it is cool, too. It's not your mother's minivan, right? You're going to be pulling up, and if it's your wife or whoever, your family, you're in the Palisade, you feel good. You're not embarrassed. You're kind of get out of the way. Here's my Palisade. Kids in the back. You get, they got bucket seats. They got third row. They have all different sorts of modes. When it snows, they got snow mode. When you want to go fast, it's got sport mode. I mean, it has all the bells and whistles. It's got Apple and Android within your car. I mean, I have that. I love that. It wirelessly connects. The Palisade could be your perfect make and model, but you'll never know unless you test drive that bad boy. Go out to Wilson County Hyundai and test drive it today. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Don't forget, I said it once, I'll say it again. Download the BetMGM app. Use our code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 with your first bet after first deposit. I love BetMGM. Rocking the BetMGM shirt today, by the way. But download the app. Use our code ATOZ Sports, and you get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 with your first bet after that first deposit. It's a great way to jumpstart your bankroll. It's a great way to get involved. The NBA playoffs are a ton of fun to bet on as you get deeper and deeper into this spring and summer season. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued with non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expiring 7 days. For problem gambling support, call Tennessee Redline at 800-889-9789. Zach, Titans rookie minicamp coming up Friday and Saturday is when the media will be out there watching. As for you guys, who are you more excited to see? Is it Burks or Willis, the wide receiver first-round pick, or the quarterback in the third round? How do you guys feel?
All right, let's go to the chat. Steven says Treylon Burks. Jeff says Willis.
Treylon.
Is this a Mariota moment?
Well, it hasn't gotten that bad, but yes, the official pronunciation
Has he
Treylon.
said this?
This is coming from the Tennessee Titans. Treylon Burks. Yes.
I got to hear Treylon say that. I got to hear it out of the horse's mouth.
Zach, as soon as he was drafted, Kim Smith.
Was it Matt Stafford or Matthew?
That's completely different. That's the same, but it's Treylon Burks.
Not to his wife. You don't dare call him Matt. His name is Matthew. Right? Look, I'm all for whatever you would like to be called. Just tell me, and I'll call you that. Unless you're one of my best friends and I've created a nickname for you, then I'm sorry, pal. You are who you are.
Look, Paul says Mike Keith asked him how to pronounce it on a video. Boom. There you go. Zach.
Treylon.
Treylon Burks. And I agree, Trammell. Zach, you're weird. Yes. you're doubting how to say somebody's name because you were corrected.
No, I just asked. I didn't doubt. I don't care. I'll call him whatever he wants to be called. I don't give a damn.
Tirade about it. Treylon Burks.
I want to know what he said, right? Because the Mariota thing was it was exhausting.
Yes.
So Treylon, we want to stamp it.
Treylon Burks. It's been
final A to Z.
I will say you were in Vegas during draft weekend, so I'll give you that. But it's Treylon Burks. Yes, Treylon Burks.
All right.
And S. Smith says Jackrabbit Burks.
Willie says Treylon. John says Treylon. Trevor says Treylon. Orlando says Treylon. Wilbur doesn't really answer the question, just mentions Kyle Phillips, so we'd really like to know your answer on this question. Deborah says Treylon. Scotty doesn't answer the question. He just says both. Scott, don't be petty.
More excited.
And actually say it. Burks from Honky Tonk. Treylon coming in from Donald. I don't think Malik is good. Donald, our guy Donald has been, he's a periscoper. He's a real OG right there.
Yes, he is.
Willis, future QB1. Malik Willis from Nicholas. Burks from Kenneth. Willis and Burks developing chemistry. So, Chris, you're still not playing the game. Burks coming in from Mark. Burks, from Trammell. Burks from Jarrell. Burks from Stephen King. Burks from Dre. Treylon. He's so humble. I just want to see his work ethic. Burks from Billy. Burks from Brent. Malik Willis. How much 17 will be sweating? I like that from Maven because, pressurized. That is, now you got some pressure. Logan Woodside ain't putting any pressure on 17. Now I think Malik comes in there. And look, I don't know how quick that will happen. But I think overall, Austin, the chat is Burks, 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 and Burks. What about you? You'll be there.
I will be there. I thought this answer was going to be a lot more even because I thought there was going to be a lot of quarterback thirsty people. So I'm impressed, chat, to see that you are Treylon Burks because that's who I'm more excited to see because that's who's got more pressure on him this year. Malik Willis has zero expectations this upcoming season. Now, am I intrigued? Hell yeah. I want to see what Malik Willis looks like throwing the football because I've seen guys with live arms and I've seen guys with noodle arms. Blaine, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Blaine Gabbert, live arm. Didn't mean anything. Mariota, noodle arm. Meant more than Blaine Gabbert's live arm. But, he could play better than Gabbert. But Treylon Burks, what is he like? How explosive is he? How big is he on the field? Does he wow me like A.J. Brown? Because A.J. Brown popped off the practice field and made you pay attention to him on the practice field for how he went about drills. What does Treylon Burks do on the practice field? That's where I'm excited about. Like Malik Willis, what's his athleticism? How big is he? I'm curious to see all these things too, and I'm looking forward to Friday.
So my answer is Music City Malik.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
I'm not going to be able to go to this practice because I'm going to be out of town. But the reason why, and I am infatuated by quarterbacks, you kind of hinted at my answer. I've seen Vince Young in practice. I've seen Kerry Collins in practice. I've seen, all these guys, and I am pretty much fascinated by their release, their mechanics, and the reason why, and I've told this story numerous times, is I practiced with Chris Sims, who's now on Football Night in America. He's climbed the ladder very quickly. Phil Sims' son. And I built a relationship with Chris Sims years ago when he was out of the league. It was after he was that short stint with the Titans, and he was trying to figure out if he wanted to get back into the league or go into broadcasting. And so I had the opportunity to train with him. Well, during that 6 months, Chris taught me so much about football quarterback mechanics. And so I look on the field for those type of things. The other thing is, you talk about zip and pop and release. I'm looking to see, and I will probably ask around within some of my, contacts within the building of, what do you see, right? Like, I want to know another opinion on Malik Willis, because he kind of seems, and this is probably why they drafted him, he has high playmaking upside.
Mm-hmm.
The playmaking ability is not always seen within practice, but hints of it is. So it's definitely Malik Willis, because I believe that's the guy that's going to either get you closer to a Super Bowl. I don't think it's Tannehill.
But again, we also know that, situationally, we understand Malik Willis is the long play. So
but this is our first look. So
yeah, I know, but
that's the reason why I said that, is because we now set the bar. We see where he is now, and then as he grows.
I don't disagree, but I agree. I think Treylon Burks is way more important for the immediate, obviously.
That's not what the question was.
Yeah, I know it's a personal answer for what you are more excited to see. But I think that's why you got to go with Treylon Burks, because this guy has to be ready. He's got to be ready to come out week 1 against whoever they play, that we'll find out Thursday night. And he's got to be ready to go. This has got to be ready to impact this football team in a positive way right now for Treylon Burks.
I want to see Willis roll out. I want to see him throw on the run. And you're going to get to see all of that, because those are the type of drills that they do. Where is he going to place the ball on the sidelines? What's his spiral? What's his zip?
I think,
these are, you're going to see more of that than just jogging, and catching little balls and doing quick cuts. You've been there. It's minicamp. It ain't training camp. So that's why I said, based on the experience of covering practice, that's why I said Malik Willis on top of all the other stuff that I said.
All right. So I did see a comment earlier in the show that I thought was really unfair to Malik Willis, saying that he's not smart enough to pick up an NFL offense and he'll do well in the USSL. I think USFL. Sorry. I think that's really unfair to Malik Willis. Just because he wasn't asked to do things in college doesn't mean he can't learn them in the NFL. It's just going to take time. That is why he dropped in the draft. But he is a talented quarterback, and it's a lot more than just running the ball. Just because he had a lot of rushing yards the last couple of years doesn't mean he only does that or as much of that as Lamar Jackson. I think the learning curve for Malik Willis is between the ears, not with the arm as much. The arm talent is there. He has the arm strength to make throws that you have to be able to make in the NFL, but he's also got the arm talent to hit receivers in stride. And when you're playing at Liberty, you've got wide receivers and tight ends and pass catchers in general who have different varying skill sets. One guy might be pretty quick. The other guy might be slow as hell. So you got to be able to adjust to that target in real time at Liberty. And Malik Willis showed that he could hit the slow receiver in stride and the fast receiver in stride and back-to-back plays at Liberty. So I think that's a good arm talent thing. It's just how can he pick up the playbook, the reads, and all of that intellectually. And just because he hasn't been asked to do it doesn't mean he can't. I think he can, but it's just going to take some time. Like his interviews at the Senior Bowl and the Combine were strong. Like people like him. It's just he is a project. And the Titans have the ability, because of Tannehill, to take a project right now.
So my love of the show goes to something that we haven't brought up yet, and we're not going to see a ton of it, but I still think that, you're going to be there Friday. It can still be witnessed. And the love of the show goes to Josh Brown. Josh Brown says, I'm impressed on how loud he is and controls the huddle. So I think that is another caveat to this. Do we expect him to come in here and be Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? No. But I do think it's something to look at. How does he call the signal? How does he break the huddle? These little nuances that I do think I would be looking at, and I'm excited to see. That and especially as a rookie and coming in, and he has less experience than Logan Woodside and Ryan Tannehill, right? And Tannehill's obviously the leader. He's won the locker room. He's the captain of the team. He has the experience. But I think those little things Josh has brought up that we haven't brought up, that is another reason why he is my answer.
Well, yeah, but has he broken a huddle? When's the last time Malik Willis has broken a huddle?
Right? I want to see that.
Because what do they do at Liberty?
It doesn't mean that they've never huddled at Liberty.
Not often, because what they do at Liberty.
You said ever.
I know. I asked the question: when's the last time he's broken a huddle? I mean, I don't know. But what do they do at Liberty? They stand at the line, look to the sideline, read a card, change a play, snap. So what is that? What is that learning curve like?
Well, Mariota had never gone under center, right?
Right, and so. That's something.
But now quarterbacks always come into the league, probably not having gone under center.
Yeah.
But with Derrick Henry, you have to. I mean, it's just the offense, right? So, but it's good because Derrick Henry, who knows when Malik Willis actually takes over and gets his opportunity as the starting quarterback, whenever that is. If that ever happens. I mean, we have no idea what the future is going to hold. What are they going to require him to do and who is going to be in the backfield, right? And so, all these things come into play. I think it's a fair point. He hasn't broken a ton of huddles. I just want to know and this is going to be like a weird word, but I want to know his aura, his football aura. Are you going to be – because Phillip Rivers has a football aura different than Joe Flacco and Eli Manning. We saw Tom Brady's football aura at practice when he came here with New England. We also saw Cam Newton's football aura dancing around, and he wasn't even practicing.
Wasn't that just crazy? Just real quick before we jump into throwing shade, because the target of your shade is actually in the chat right now. But just the difference of Tom Brady and Cam Newton at practice, because Tom Brady was owned those 3 practice fields those 2 days, right? Cam Newton was bitching and arguing with Titans fans on the sideline.
Well, one has a job. One just got $375 million. The other one is out of a job, demeaning different people.
Yes, for sure. All right, let's get to throwing shade. We're going to have a strong shade today, so get ready for throwing shade, because Zach is going to throw shade at one particular person who is in the chat right now. I just saw him comment recently, but real quick, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. Whenever you get hurt in life, you got to know where to go. You got to know who to trust. Boneandjointtn.org. Over a dozen physicians there at their Franklin campus who specialize in any type of joint injury you could possibly have. So when UC Saros confirmed yesterday that he had an ankle sprain, Alex Doherty reported out of A to Z Sports. We talked about that on Doc Talk segment with the Bone and Joint Institute about what all that means and how you recover from that and what all goes into an ankle sprain, the difference in a high ankle sprain, a low ankle sprain. They've got these resources for you. They also have flexibility for you because if Franklin, Tennessee doesn't work, they got Thompson Station, Brentwood, and Nolensville. Truly is the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care at boneandjointtn.org.
And I want to follow that up. Very proud of Alex and his reporting on our Nashville Predators coverage. Now, Alex has been with us for several years, so I don't really expect anything less. But I think this in a year that the Preds didn't win the President's Trophy or anything like that, like this was a year that news came out, and I thought Alex did a great job. And we hope that Preds fans that read his stuff and A to Z Sports, I think that our coverage was well represented. So shout out to Alex for a great season and moving forward.
I'll say this. Go read his column he wrote yesterday about David Poile.
Yep. Right. Good information from a very knowledgeable baseball and hockey guy, right? And we know that from trivia. Shout out to BetMGM. You can't bet on the Preds anymore, but you can't bet on the Avalanche. I mean, they're moving on. So there you go. You can put money in your pocket with BetMGM. Risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports right there on the screen, ATOZ Sports, for a risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users. Let's get to it.
Throwing shade on this Wednesday, like we do every Wednesday. Zach will throw shade on one particular viewer. Paulie says shade on AJ, the tweeter deleter. That's just a funny nickname. Oh, man. So Bobby says, my shade is the NBA refs and rules, letting them review every foul that is slightly harder than they like. And these flopping players try to buy hit to the face fouls. G-Man says shade on website pop-ups asking you to sign up for deals, but you're already signed up. Shouldn't their site recognize how you got there? Annoying. Maybe. That just kind of works with technology. Jabu says my shade is on Zach for not classifying AJ Brown a bust yet. Inconsistency because he didn't get a second deal from the Titans. So more shade to read from you guys.
I have blame for the Titans. You know that. I thought that was a low ball figure for $16.4 million with incentives up to 20. I do think that look, there's blame all around, but you also have to blame the franchise for doing what they did. They could have looked at last year's industry standard of the market of wide receiver and not done that. Look, they had their questions, but they played hardball, and then they woke up the next morning not in a relationship.
Yeah. Jeff says, shade on my job for not firing people who pick and choose when they show up and work and messing up everyone else's day. I now have to take over someone else's route who doesn't want to work. Yeah, that's got to be annoying, Jeff, there. So real quick, my shade's pretty fast, and then I'll allow you because you were throwing shade at somebody here. My shade is on companies who make commercials on radio and TV that are local commercials on radio and TV, yet botch the pronunciations of local areas. Like there is an event going on at Nashville Super Speedway in Lebanon. It's not Lebanon. It has never been Lebanon. Wilson County Hyundai is not in Lebanon. It's in Lebanon. Lebanon. It's not Demon Bruin Street. It's Demumbrian. It's not that hard to have somebody double check your commercial, your promo, your advertisement, your traffic reporter to say, this is how you are supposed to pronounce these words for your audience. Because as soon as I hear this big voice guy say, Lebanon, I dismiss whatever he was promoting because I know they don't care. That is my shade.
It's Treylon. Treylon's got to tell me to say Treylon, so I won't call him Treylon. What if I really extended it? Treylon, right? It's Treylon now. So, I learned that today. So that's fair shade, right? It's
Lebanon.
Phony.
It's not
phony.
Lebanon.
Well, it goes into what is phony and what's not phony within the show. And I have no vendetta against this guy. He listens to the show. I appreciate that. But I do want to set a record straight because I was on Twitter last night at some point and saw this tweet come in response to one of our shows. And shout out to this particular. Now, I do have shade on his name. He's Bizarro PK. So you're kind of going over the alias of somebody else, but that may be funny. I don't really know. Be yourself, in my opinion. But Bizarro PK tweeted, sometimes Austin Stanley 81 and Bada_Bingham are obviously faking their, quote, argue with each other, end quote, angle, but I love them. I appreciate that last line. So love you too, boo. But I also will tell you something that is like ridiculous to say, that we are faking arguments. So I responded to Bizarro PK and I said, I've never fake argued with anyone in my life. And I added, especially, and I want to say that, especially the way that I say, especially with Austin. This will be featured on tomorrow's show. So then Bizarro PK comes back and he says, I'm getting featured. What should I wear? Well, you should wear some sunblock because I'm about to roast you. This is ridiculous. If you think for 1 second that I am faking an opinion or we're doing this because I don't believe what I actually say, you don't know me very well and you have never watched this show. I am pretty much the same type of person, and anybody who knows me in day-to-day life knows that this is who I am. I am never going to, and we literally set the show up so we don't do this, because the Skip Baylesses of the world, the Shannon Sharps, the Stephen A. Smiths, all those yahoos that sit there and their producers tell them what to say and what angle to do. We are the opposite of that. We are Bizarro that, Bizarro PK, because we want to be authentic. Everything that we do, I have no idea what Austin's opinion is on anything going into this show. We try to create questions to set ourselves up for me to listen to him to listen to me. And then when we get into yelling matches, that's just the way that it happens. And so I believe that's how it should be. So maybe this is new to you, but nothing on here is fake. I am like this in real life, and that could be crazy to you, but it is not fake. And so for all the people that have watched this show, I will reiterate, we're not fake arguing. I truly don't understand why Austin thinks the way that he does in the moment. And Austin thinks that I'm stubborn and obnoxious in the moment.
No, like we truly are this stubborn. like that. We truly are this stubborn. Yes.
And right. So like, it would be funny. And David brings up a good business idea. Oh, we should just tell you that it's fake and then get a premium service and say, here are all the real live arguments. Here's the real deal, right?
I think that's not how our business responding is to somebody else, but yeah.
But we are not fake, and Buck is not fake. Our guys in Dallas, Will Steele and Mauricio Rodriguez, they are not fake. We don't hire phonies. I refuse to. I weed those things out, and they're not a part of the company. I want real, authentic opinions. And if and Austin knows this, Zach Reagan, our best full-time writer, I have called him out to say, that's the dumbest thing that I've ever read in my life. What are you doing? Because he tried, and I feel he's trolling, but he's not. That is his opinion on the tape.
Yes.
And so that's what A to Z Sports premise is. So again, Bizarro PK, I have nothing against you. I appreciate you watching the show.
Well, he said he loves us.
But you are right. Love you too. Little Jack Harlow right there. But I do think that this needs to be stated that this is the way that it is. I would feel, I don't know. I don't think I could live with myself if this was all a fake.
There's some really good comments. John says, if I had $1 every time one of you says, will you let me talk? He would buy the Cincinnati Reds.
And here's another thing. So here's the difference. So, and this is full peeling back the onion. The only difference in our arguments on air and our arguments off air are cuss words. So, I mean, maybe there may be a premium service where one day we just let it rip. And I'm not saying we both have, mouths like a sailor, but when we get real heated now, that's not the way we wanted to set up our program. We're not trying to be Barstool, but we're also not trying to be, Joel Osteen. So like there's a difference. There's a happy medium in that. But in our real arguments, because look, we've worked together for what? How long? I mean, I've lost count, like close to 10 years.
Almost 10.
Right? Things, there are good stuff and there are bad stuff. So that's probably the biggest difference in our arguments, but they're real. I mean, when we're mad at each other, we're mad at each other. And so I want the audience to know that. So that's my shade.
You said you had 2 shades. Do you want to save the other one?
No, I mean, I can say this. Shade on cryptocurrency because it's killing everybody. All of the investments that we've made are like gone, half gone, at least. Everybody I've talked to. So shame on crypto. I mean, that's the state of the economy right now. Things are not good in that world. But crypto, I look, because I get these updates from my crypto, and it's like, X coin that I have is down 6%. And then like 4 hours later, the same X coin is down 3.4%. So anybody that is in crypto understands the pain that we share, I guess. So shame on that. But I will say, it is a long play. I'm not trying to get rich quick. I'm not sitting here trying to be the Gen Zer that, is flipping crypto as my day job. I'm trying to build, a portfolio of crypto to see if in 20 years, all of a sudden, we're betting Ethereum right here live on the screen, which I actually think will happen, for one of our Treylon Burks Jr. bets.
Man. How about this shade? Bizarro PK says, I'm missing this. I'm literally in a meeting. So sad the volume is down.
Well, the good thing is you can watch it after we're done.
And I also want this because this is great. Xavier says, I have so many Zach and Austin arguments saved in his phone. I just want Xavier to just trickle these things out over the summer on Twitter. Like, Xavier, can you do that?
I forget about it. I was talking to my buddy Turb the other day, and he was talking about an argument we had last Monday. This is actually pretty funny, and I think the viewers will understand this. He was talking about an argument we were having last Monday, and that was my first show back from the draft, right?
Oh,
from
Vegas. Live at Bone and Joint. Yeah.
And he made me think about something, which is kind of funny. You were doing shows with Jack and Austin Huff, the guys from Tighten Up Podcast, for a few days.
Yes. And
then they're much different than I. Pretty much the opposite of how I think about things and how I interact. And then he was like, I felt like, you came back on Monday and there was like this period of like, whoa, what's going on? This is not how we've been doing these shows. And I am back, and we're now back into argument mode because we had just gotten to a topic of type of discussion.
Well, and I had discussed the A.J. Brown trade like 5 times. You had not once. And so there's a difference of like where I was mentally on that discussion and where you were mentally on that discussion. So I think that's where a lot of it kind of hit the fan there. So, and I also I think I don't remember the specifics about that show because it was way too long ago, just like 10 days ago. But I do remember being literally like befuddled at some of the things that you were saying because you were not blaming
A.J. Brown complete biased. And I was telling you that I was blaming the Titans on their low ball offer, and you couldn't commit to low ball. You just said low. Because I talked about it.
Yeah, I was trying to not be.
You didn't, but it was a low ball offer.
No, you were going
just a low offer.
But maybe that's what Turb was saying, is that you were going extreme, and I wasn't willing to go extreme. Like you were trying to.
$16.4 million is a low ball offer. It's not just a low.
And here we go again. It was a start. It was an opening offer. I think there was an overreaction to it from the A.J. Brown.
You had other wide receivers to compare the market to even before Christian Kirk. The timeline didn't matter. DJ Moore was your example. Yeah, you had that.
But DJ Moore didn't have bad knees.
DJ Moore is not as good as A.J. Brown.
I don't know. DJ Moore's had worse quarterback play and has had pretty good numbers. We don't know.
A.J. Brown is better than DJ Moore. We could go to the comments right now.
I'm pushing your buttons. Like I'm literally riling you up.
You would admit that AJ Brown is better than DJ Moore.
Yes, AJ Brown is better than DJ Moore. But again, like the knees situation is an important caveat to all this. Plus, I don't know if I can trust anything AJ Brown says.
You won't have to. He's gone.
Right.
He's Philly cheesesteak. We actually, we had a guy, it was still another guy. His name was Jake. We called him Philly Cheese Jake. It's a great nickname. Unfortunately, AJ doesn't. I can't find the nickname of what he could be. He's just, Juan Arthur, which is also a good nickname.
Arthur Juan. He's not J.A. Adonde.
Well, instead of Bizarro, I was dyslexic.
Yes, that's true. All right. Tomorrow, we'll be back on a Thursday. Hope everybody enjoys their Wednesday. Johnny Lee says, you fakers. Yeah, exactly. All right. So Buck Rising live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime. We're getting closer and closer to Titans schedule release tomorrow night.
Give me an Oscar. We both need Oscars if we're faking.
True. All right. We'll see you guys later on. Have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later. Thanks.
Adios.